She said red today. We are doing red. Today is a new beginning. It is. Hi, my name is Scola and you are beautiful. Okay? Okay. Okay guys, so what's going on? Okay guys, so welcome back to my channel. So I'm so excited because this is a continuation of my new series here on my channel, all about weight loss and health and fitness. Yes, your girl is going back to her roots. So if you didn't catch the first video in the series, then I'll leave a link to it down below. It was all about why you think you can't lose weight or why you just think you can't achieve your goals in general. Being self-aware is super important, especially when it comes to trying to break a cycle. Right, before we get into how to break a negative cycle, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell button if the energy feels right. Okay, if you like, oh, I'm liking the energy here, you might as well just click that subscribe button. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about how to break a negative cycle. Now, I realized that I have been stuck in a cycle of gaining and losing weight, but more importantly, I've been stuck in a really negative cycle that is just not serving me and not helping me to progress and move forward in life. I am moving like this when I want to be moving like this. I don't even mind if there's like ups and downs, but if I'm going in a forward motion, right now I'm just like, ooh, a fun Ferris wheel, woohoo! That's not what I want. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is identify the cycle that you're actually stuck in. So I mentioned in my last video that I've been stuck in a year-long cycle. So basically what I noticed is that from May until November, I am thriving. I will stay healthy, I'll have amazing habits, I will be doing my best. Depending on a few variables though, gotta keep that in mind, and I'll be talking about that. But that is my cycle. But the problem is, as soon as I get to January, I am just gonna keep gaining weight all up until like April time. Sometimes I will start to lose weight in like March time, get back into my routine. I'm talking about weight loss, but really it's just a reflection of what my habits are, my lifestyle and that kind of thing, and where I'm at. I'm not really bothered about the outward appearance. I just know that it is a reflection of whatever my habits are and what I'm doing. I would not be concerned at all if I gain weight, for example, because I'm in a happy relationship. So I've gained weight because I'm happy and we're going out to eat and having a great time. I wouldn't be worried if I gained weight because I had a baby and I'm super happy about the baby because that's what babies do. Like, there are so many reasons you can gain weight. So I'm not trying to vilify the idea of gaining weight, because weight loss can be negative as well. It's so important to be aware of these things, and I'll definitely be diving deep into those topics as well when it comes to our associations with weight gain and weight loss. But for now, let's just talk about this weight gain, weight loss cycle. So it took me a really long time to actually notice this cycle. I think it took me about 3 years to clock on that I was on a cycle, because it was a year-long one. So I could be like, wait a minute, that happened last year and that also happened the year before. So I was like, something is a little bit sneaky. Like, I don't know what it is, but I gotta look into it, and that's what I did. And so 1 year I actually managed to break this cycle. So I'll be sharing with you guys how I did that, but unfortunately we will be talking about variables, because let's just say the last year has been a variable none of us could have prepared for. That was my cycle. And so the next stage, after being self-aware, being aware of what my cycle was, the next thing you need to do is figure out your trigger. I don't know if you guys, just take a moment, comment down below, can you pick out what my trigger was? So I asked you guys on Instagram to tell me why you think you're stuck in a cycle, and quite a few guys gave me some answers. One of the answers I remember getting was binge eating on the weekends. So you'll see more answers in the last video if you watched that, but can we guess what that person's trigger is? It's a weekend. There is something about a weekend that triggers them. Someone else said temptation. When they are around certain foods that they love, that is when they tend to go back into the cycle, because they end up eating something that maybe they wouldn't have wanted to eat in that moment, and then they get stuck in the cycle again. We can tell what a trigger is. It is certain yummy foods. Now my trigger if you haven't guessed already, is winter. I struggle with seasonal affective disorder. I am not diagnosed, but a bitch knows when she gets sad, and it is because of winter. I dislike winter. I was about to say hate, but I am actually going to look into if I can change that. I'm going to see if I can change my mindset when it comes to winter, if I can rejig my brain to be like, hey, this is so fun. It's so cold and dark. Woohoo! But honestly, I'm a sun baby. Look at me. So for me, that is my trigger. So it is so important when it comes to breaking a cycle to figure out what your triggers are. What makes you get back into a bad cycle and not stay into the positive habits that you kind of want to keep. And we will be talking about habits as well, but today we're just really going to focus on breaking that cycle. Now, make sure you write down your triggers. Another trigger of mine is being out of routine and being out of my usual environment. So now it is all about your response. How are you going to respond to those triggers? Because that is what life is all about. You can't always control what happens, but you can control how you respond to it. So as much as I mentioned just now that the past year has been really difficult for all of us, and actually I wouldn't even imagine that a lot of us could have thrived during that, though I'm sure a lot of people did. After a while, you have to start seeing how you can respond, how you can adapt to whatever is a barrier, whatever is not serving you, whatever is not helping you thrive. So giving me as an example, how am I going to respond to struggling throughout winter? So I have already started drawing out plans. I am making plans to make sure that your girl is thriving. So the first one is not extreme, but it is the more extreme method to help me get over it, and that is just traveling. I'm just gonna try to go to the southern hemisphere. I'm gonna just go and travel as close to the sun as I physically can. If I could get a rocket, just go into space and sit by the sun, I would. That's a lie, because I actually don't like super hot weather. I just want the sun. Even today, it is a really cold day, but I just love that the sun is out. Just as I'm saying that, it's going behind a cloud, but I love that it's out. But also it's really important to look at different options and how likely you are to be able to implement that. So for example, I'd love the opportunity to travel during those months where I know I'm gonna be struggling the most, and I know that I'm gonna need to stay active and stay outdoors, because it's not just that winter is a trigger for me. What happens is it also messes up my routine. For example, there's some days where it's physically impossible to go outside because it is raining so aggressively, so I can't go outside, go for my walks. One of the things that really help me mentally is being in nature, and if nature is fighting back and it's raining and it's windy and it's horrible, then that just makes it less enjoyable. So then I can't do the things that actually do help me to stay on a healthy path. So that includes being in nature, going for a walk, getting vitamin D, getting sun, actually even socializing, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but during those months we don't really socialize because we're usually broke after Christmas. Nobody thinks to just do simple things like, you know, we don't even have to spend the most money. We're not trying to go out. Let's just meet up for a quick little coffee, go for a walk, things like that. I find just tends to go to the wayside when it comes to those months, and all of those things are things that really help me. Now, this is how I broke my cycle before. I noted that, oh my goodness, I need to make sure I'm staying in nature. I am staying as active as possible, like I would be during summer. I need to make sure that I'm socializing, getting out, seeing my friends as often as possible, that I'm sticking to a routine. Even things like the clocks changing and it being darker in the mornings can mess up my routine. Like I might not feel as safe going out for a walk early morning because it's still so dark. So then I'm like, right, I'm gonna have to change that up as well. So it's just about adapting and all those things that I managed to do to break the cycle before. But unfortunately, with all of the lockdowns, I actually never thought to adapt to the lockdowns. I was like, this is terrible. The world is ending. So adapting to that was a lot harder, but it is definitely something that I could have done had I been aware and more self-aware of what was going on with me and my body, instead of just being an autopilot. And we're going to be talking about autopilot and how we can just fall into bad habits and not be aware of what is going on, if that makes sense, with ourselves. So for me, either I can go abroad or I can try to make those changes whilst I'm here and try and work through what is one of my biggest triggers. So try to do that for yourself. If you've made a note of what your triggers are, then make sure you also write that down and you also think of how you might be able to respond and overcome it, rather than just waiting for the barrier to come and expecting yourself to be stronger and be able to deal with it in the moment. Sometimes you need that self-awareness in advance so that you can deal with it. So the next thing I really want to talk about is changing your environment. Your environment makes up so much of your life. So we spend the most time in our environment, but we also spend the most time in our minds, and that is something that's going to be coming up next. But for now, let's talk about how you can better help yourself with your environment to make sure that there are no triggers that will cause you to fall off track. So it's things like, if you can help it, try to make sure that you always have healthy foods in your house and in your cupboards. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but delete all the food delivery apps off your phone. Deliveroo, Uber Eats, all of them are wonderful. They do have healthy options, but are you gonna go for the healthy options? No, because now you associate those apps with getting something a little bit naughty, a little bit cheeky, okay? So we're gonna have to delete those apps, focus on what is in your environment, okay? So last week I did this actually. If you guys saw my little food haul that I did, I went to Aldi and I got myself a bunch of fruits and I had them all laid out on the counter. I had like a fruit bowl, whatever, but just seeing them every day made me want them. And I thought, I don't really like fruit, but just seeing them every day in my face, I was like, I have got to eat those. So it's things like, if you have a yoga mat, put your yoga mat out. Your workout clothes, put them in a place where you can see them, or put them in your top drawer where they're most easily accessible. Your healthy foods, make everything, every change you want to make sure it's at the forefront. For example, my books, I have my books sometimes tucked away on my bookshelf. I know I'm not going to read them if they are not in my face. So one thing I make sure I do is I have a book on my bedside table. I have a book in my living room, somewhere where I can always pick up a book instead of going to pick up my phone. And the same goes for the people in your life as well. Now, I'm not saying to cut off people, but see what you can do to make sure that the people in your life are also helping you with the changes that you're making, whether that's spending more time with people that you know have the lifestyle or the habits that you want, or that it is even encouraging the people in your life to be like, hey, do you want to go on this journey with me? So it's not always about cutting off friends and trying to make new, better friends, because I think that can sometimes come across a little bit bad. It's just about making sure you're just changing your environment and actually letting the people around you also aware of the changes that you're making. Next up, you want to change your mindset. As much as we spend a lot of time in our environment, the place that we spend the most time is in our heads. Okay, baby, you spend so much time talking to yourself, thinking to yourself. Like, it's so important to make it a nice place to be. So a few things that have helped me to break out of cycles is breaking out of negative thought patterns, things like making sure I'm doing daily affirmations to fill my head with positivity. That's even listening to music with positive affirmations. Another thing is actually self-awareness and realizing that you're getting stuck in certain cycles. So honestly, out of all of the things that I've said, this is the one thing you should spend the most time on: your mindset, changing your thoughts, just really trying to hack those pathways that are so used to doing things in a certain way. So the last thing you really want to be doing is future planning. Okay, let's plan for the future. Let us think about what we want to achieve. Stop thinking about what you don't want to achieve. So one of the things people kept saying is that once they get to their goal, the problem is they get comfy and then they end up going back to their old habits and regressing. But the problem is because you've only made a plan of how you are going to lose the weight, or how you're going to get fit, or how you're going to reach the goal. You didn't make your plan about how you're going to maintain that lifestyle afterward. I always talk about this on my channel, that you want to make sure you're building a lifestyle. You're not just doing a quick fix. So it's really important to think about what that will look like. Try to envision the kind of lifestyle you will have once you actually reach your goal. And that is how we're gonna break the cycle. Okay guys, I have been talking for so long and I'm so sorry about it. I hope this has been really helpful. I hope I've brought some new stuff for you guys to think about when it comes to your health and fitness journeys. If you have anything you want to share, any questions that you have, anything you're struggling with, please comment down below. I will be replying to them all. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Just remember that you are worthy, you deserve the best in this world, and I know you are gonna get it. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.